Hey everyone, this is Natasha here at Mission Bend Branch, and today I'm here to talk to you about the Adventure Zone series. Now, the Adventure Zone is actually a graphic novel based on a podcast by three brothers and their dad, Clint McElroy, the dad, Justin, Travis, and Griffin McElroy, his sons. And this is Griffin right here. He's the DM or the dungeon master. Then we got Taco, who's voiced by Justin. Then Magnus, voiced by Travis, and then Clint voices Merle over here. They started the podcast, I want to say around 2016, 2015. It was a few years ago. And this arc that the graphic novels are based on is called Balance Arc. This is from the first part. This is Here There Be Gerblins. And then we have Murder on the Rockport Limited. And then the latest one, Petals to the Metal. This one's a really good one. So part one of the balance arc is called Here There Be Gerblins. And this is the beginning of the adventure. Taco, Magnus, and Merle are called to take some stuff to a place called Wave Echo Cave, where they're going to help Merle's long distant cousin. I think his name was Gundren Rockseeker. It's been a while, so I couldn't remember. I think it's Gundren Rockseeker. And I don't want to give away too much because you need to read it. It's really good, and listen to the podcast. Chaos ensues. There's a magic spider. There's gelatinous cubes. There's a bugbear named Clark. It's a whole thing. You need to read it, listen to the podcast. So part two of the balance arc is called The Murder on the Rockport Limited. Now this one is hilarious. I mean, they're all hilarious, don't get me wrong, but this one made me laugh the most of the three that I have here. This one made me laugh. It was hilarious. And it also introduced me to one of my favorite characters in the series called Angus MacDonald, the boy detective. When Griffin voices him in the podcast, I laugh every single time. And he's just, the way the boys make fun of him, the Taco, Magnus, and Merle make fun of him in this adventure is great. There's Graham the Juicy Wizard, who's hilarious. And Jenkins, the way they make fun of Jenkins in this story, who works on the train, is everything. This one is basically a murder mystery that they need to solve on a train, kind of like Murder on the Orient Express, but like way funnier. They have to go to retrieve an ancient relic, not to spoil too much. So they have to go, that's why they're on the train, and just, of all the things that's involved, Tom Bodette from Motel 6. I'm going to leave you with that for this part because you have to listen/read to understand it. So the last part that we have so far is Petals to the Metal. Now, Petals to the Metal was written, it's the first original adventure that Magnus, Merle, and Taco have been on. It was written by Griffin, our DM right here, and it was written after he spent an entire weekend watching all the Fast and the Furious movies with his wife, Rachel. So he came up with this adventure, and again, I know I said this about the other two, it's hilarious. It's a lot more, it's interesting to both listen and read it, because the way they go into describing things, and they make fun of the fact that it's a non-visual medium and it's a whole thing. But basically this one is they have to go retrieve another relic, and they go to this town of Gold Cliff where they have illegal wagon races, and wagons are horseless carriages or cars, and they have to battle the Raven to get back the relic that she has, and they team up with Hurley, who drives the wagon that they're in, and it's a whole thing. Like I keep saying, I don't want to get into too much because it spoils a lot of the story. I highly recommend the podcast when you're reading them. There's a bunch more parts, so this isn't the end of it. There's going to be more. I believe we should be able to start pre-ordering, if you're a fan, the next adventure called The Crystal Kingdom. That one's a really good one, but I digress. But this one is the latest one we have in the system, and if I didn't mention it already, the podcast, these graphic novels are all based on D&D, on Dungeons and Dragons. The brothers play with their dad. And I love it because I just started playing D&D a little over a year or so ago with some of my really good friends. It's so much fun. So anyone who likes that kind of fantasy book, movie lifestyle, I highly recommend these and the podcast. Once again, you have to start from the very, 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 very beginning, though, from the balance arc, or you're going to just be thrown off. So if you like fantasy, sci-fi even, these are the books for you. And I love it because it's a great way to see what I listened to for almost a year. It's a great way to just illustrate it. Literally. The story was literally illustrated. The artist, Carrie Page, does a wonderful job of illustrating some of our favorite characters. Her drawing, her creation of Merle is one of my favorite things because I could picture Taco and I could picture Magnus, but Merle is the one that I love her drawings of the best. And also Magnus's little, I don't know if you guys can see right there. This is Lord Stephen Q. Esquire III, his pet goldfish. I love how she drew him hanging off his belt. And just the detail she goes in to illustrate what we all listened to for so long. So that's that. I hope you guys enjoyed my talk today. And one small piece of advice, don't get into D&D because you're going to go nuts and buy a lot of dice you don't need. Have a good one. P.S. If you want to learn anything about D&D, get some of the adventure books, come and see us, whether it's here at Mission Bend or any of our other branches, and we got some books that can help you out.